Hello and welcome, or welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and this is an at present of tarot art books, mostly art books this week, but a couple other odds and ends. I'm going to try and I might have to speed through it before I lose the light altogether, because I've left it too late in the day, but if I don't do it today, it's not going to happen till at least next week. So here we go. The tarot I've been using lately are all ones on my work desk here, so I have to keep moving them out of the way so I don't get paint on them. But they are just, I love how creative the people who made them were. I'm enjoying that aspect in particular of them lately. So this is the Apaton Keys, and this is Daydreaming in Situ by Annie Farrar. I want her to redo, what's the Thoth one? Alchemy of Thoth. I didn't get that one. I should have. Oh well. So I've been using these a lot. And I really enjoy them. I enjoy them together. I don't know why, but I do. They just work for me. This makes me want to get my collage stuff out. I mean, they're both collage. But I've been on a painting tear lately, which I'll get to in a minute. But like, I just love them. So this is what I've been doing most of my like regular readings with every day. What are we doing today? You know, full moon readings, that sort of, those sorts of shenanigans. And then for my arts and crafts shenanigans, I've been using three things. Well, it started off as two things and then became three things because I can't stick to a single thing these days. I've been using still, again, the Avatara. I've been using it for the last, I don't know, few weeks, I think. And it's an all-time favorite. But then I got, wait, hang on a second. What is this called? Animal something. One sec. This one. It's new. I just got it, so I've only used it a few times, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's good fun, and kind of mostly works for me, I think, except for the box. The box, I wasn't actually sure I'd be able to get this box open when I first got it, so I only just barely put it on, because if I put it all the way closed, I'm never gonna get it open again. So yeah, don't know what that's about, but anyway, it's very cute. And I've needed color in my life lately, like a lot of it, as much as possible. So, that's this. And then, because that wasn't enough color overwhelm, I got out the My Friend Fire. And I've used this as well. Something like this. Whoops. Sometimes by itself, sometimes in some manner of combination. I'm not very like, I don't stick to a system. That's so pretty. I love her artwork. So, oh, this is stuck together. Joy is essential. That's sort of why I've been using these very colorful ones, because the world is on fire. The planet is literally burning. People are losing their homes and whatnot, and like there are a million other crises around the world, genocides and people getting kidnapped from their homes and whatnot, and it's ridiculous and very stressful, and I'm on the periphery, so I'm pretty, you know, safe and secure from all of this. And it's still anxiety inducing. So like, boy. Yeah. Play is medicine. Also that. So I've been enjoying this one a lot for that reason. Because just the world is ridiculous. And so learning how to play as an adult, if you have time, I realize I'm luckier than many in that regard, is amazing. So yeah, that, I don't know if I can put this in Is it gonna come out? Yeah, probably not. Okay, I'll stick that in there. Because I don't wanna, yeah, that's ridiculous. Anyway, that's the tarot situation for the last couple of weeks. Now, okay, got my stuff all together and had another coughing break because this thing that may or may not have been COVID will just go away. So it's still kicking around, like for 8, 9, 10 weeks later. I don't know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, one of my arts and crafts projects for last week was I made a bunch of these. I really went a little bit bananas and made a bunch of these color swatches of all my mixed media material, like all of them. So not the acrylic paint, because that would take just like, you can make, I don't remember how many colors I could make with the colors that I've got, but like a lot. So it would take a while. Probably like all of these colors just with acrylic paint. So I didn't do that, but I do have, and I might do another video with my travel art kits, because I've got 3 different versions now for going out and about in different scenarios. So I've got medium and small ones, and these are, I don't know if I can show you this very well, but these are just the range of colors that I've got in those kits. The small one has like 8 things in it, and that's it, like pencil crayons and stuff. And then on the back I've got what everything is. So that's fun. These are my miscellaneous like colors I'm still trying to figure, you know, like how to work them into things and how to, yeah, work in progress, this section. But oh yeah, and these are I might keep these for I don't know what. Does it make sense to keep them? Probably not. Will I anyway? Probably. So I've got a few different pencil cases. One is for portraits. Well, 2 are for portraits. One is all the skin tone options that I've got for portraits, from pretty light, because like I'm pretty light, to about as dark as you can get, to like black for hair. Some of these colors are like only skin tone adjacent, so it's still a work in development. Like clearly that's not a real human skin tone unless they're jaundiced or something, but you know, it's a work in progress. I'm collecting material that could be skin tone, because honestly even the sets that come with skin tones are not good skin tones. Like I don't know who comes up with these things, but like they need to get their act together. And then if I just need color for fun and scribbles, then I've got a bunch of other colors that I like incorporating into my portraits at the moment. And then this, oh yeah, this is the gouache range of colors that I've got. So I have fewer gouache colors than acrylic at the moment. I do have a few bonkers ones, but then I have my normal range of mixed colors from just the yellow, red, and blue, including all of these browns that I've tried to use as skin tones, but they're a bit on the red side, so I'll have to figure out. That one's okay. That one's okay. I'll have to try and figure out how to fix that. And also I couldn't get darker than that with the red that I've got, so I'm gonna get a darker red at some point, I think. But I did get a dark brown too, so maybe that'll help. And then I have a big outdoor art kit that, like, if I'm taking my backpack and everything, these are all the colors in there. So that took 2 days and was slightly ridiculous, but it's fun to play with and very satisfying. And then I have a whole pile of different sketchbook things. This one I started literally today. I went to this, there's an area, technically it's a dog park, which is adorable. No complaints from me. And I'll just go and sit and draw there because it's like a tiny little wooded area in the middle of the city. And there's this one particular dead tree that I was drawing today. So that was fun. Had fun with that. And also there are a lot of wildflowers in bloom. So I just got that little watercolor sketchbook started. Actually, these 2 are my other out and about ones. So this one, what have I done lately? Oh yeah, I went to a plant rescue and drew. So these are some goldenrod. This is not watercolor paper, so, oh, wait, tangent, sorry. I wanted to know, because I got some acrylic markers, but they bleed through everything, so you need special acrylic marker, no, alcohol marker paper. And they're pretty colors, but they drive me nuts. So I wanted to find out if I could use clear gesso and use them on top. And you can, and they don't bleed through if you gesso a page. So it's rougher, but you could gesso a page, sand it slightly, which I did here, so it's quite smooth there, and then put all sorts on top of it. And I have I have a white, what's this called? Watercolor ground. I want to get a clear one to try, because then I could use that in here, and it's smoother than gesso. So it wouldn't have quite, this has got a very slight sandpapery texture, which is not my most favorite for sketchbooks. Anyway, so that was an experiment to see how things show up on this, and then if I can use alcohol markers on it, which I can. So that's progress. Goldenrod, I really enjoyed doing those ones. And then, whoops. Did I fix this? I might not have. It's the paper. Fleabane and Smooth Blue Aster. These were my experiment pages. So in here, I have the quote-unquote real pages. They're not like, that's a weird way of putting it, but it's watercolor paper, so it works better with gouache. And this is gouache in like bits. So there's, I think there was Posca in here somewhere. There's pencil crayon, there's Neocolor too. So there's like, and I varnished this now, so it's staying put. But yeah, so this is a false Golden Aster, an alfalfa, and this is the goldenrod. But like, it just looks, it's interesting using the same material on different paper, because you can get really deeper, richer color than you can here, because it just keeps pulling it up. It won't sink into the paper, it just sits on the surface, because this is not watercolor paper and this is. So that was interesting. So yeah, I did that with a few different flowers. This is from a park where I go on my lunch break often, and so I just took this and painted something. This was trying to get a limited palette. So in Orla's Patreon for, not this month, but last month, so I was behind because, of course I was, because what are schedules even? And I went back and watched some of the workshops and stuff that she'd done on this limited but expressive color palettes thing that was like last month's theme. Well, I think it was June's theme now, because we're in August. I can't keep up. So this was me playing around with trying to narrow it down, because you were supposed to do a red, a yellow, a blue, a dark, a brown or warm color, and then a wild card. That was the idea, I think. Did I get that right? I don't know. She has a whole like recipe and explanations and examples, and so anyway, if you're interested, check that out. But then part of it was doing this. She had a reference photo of some dude fishing on this cement thing. I don't even know what it is. This one so this was my first doodle, and I actually really like a lot of things about it, even though I ripped up the paper and everything. And this was the second one. And I like some things about it more, but some things about it less. And then, oh yeah, and then I did the color inverse of this here. So, whoops, sorry. There we go. Just on a lunch break again one day, because I wanted to. Yeah. And then out back at that plant rescue, this was sort of the scenery. So it was a smoky day. I like and dislike this drawing because it's too like pretty and delicate for what it was, because the smoke was coming in and this land had been bulldozed. If you've ever seen earth moving bulldozers, they're not like regular bulldozers, they're bigger than a tank. They're huge. Like if you see a human next to them, you're tiny. And it rips up the whole prairie, just everything gone. So that's what this was. So I feel like it needed to be harsher, but I didn't get there. But the wildflowers that I was surrounded by were legitimately gorgeous. That's just a prepped page. Oh yeah, these were the two that I did in here, the versions of the Fleabane and the Aster. I really like them. I feel like the value between the flower and the background is too similar, but other than that, I really like them. Oh yeah, and this was the yarrow and the purple prairie clover. And yarrow is beautiful, but also if you've never seen purple prairie clover, it's hilarious. It's like this purple tube that's fuzzy with little purple spiky things with little orange dots on the top. It's like the weirdest. It's so cute. I love it. Highly recommend prairie purple clover. And then my indoor stuff. So I took these out and then I didn't do much on them outside. So before I went to the plant rescue, because I knew I was going, and I wanted to be a bit bolder, and I wasn't sure if I would be in my sketchbook. So in case I had trouble, I made a couple of these accordion books. So this is the biggest one I've ever made by like a lot. It's huge, like this. Look at this thing. Ridiculous. It's gigantic. And I didn't do a lot of work on this because I got too busy drawing the wildflowers and I was having fun with that. But I did do a little bit of like pencil lines and things into this. This is the backside with the, oh yeah, I didn't show those other paintings yet. I'll get to this. This color scheme will make more sense in a second. But basically, it's still the prairie landscape, but trying to be more abstract. So this was with acrylic ink and then just some working bits on top. And then this was a smaller one that I used to protect my table, which as you can see, I'm not doing a great job of because every time I do one of these, it's got more paint on it, but oh well. So here again, just abstract landscape possibilities. Some nonsense on that. And then what did I do in here? These are my indoor sketchbooks that don't usually go out with me. Oh yeah, I did an Emma Carlisle Patreon. I just did the last half hour of it because I missed most of it. And I could have gone back and do the, Lord, I can't get a sentence out without tripping over my tongue. I could have gone back and watched the replay, but I didn't. This was a color palette in my medium-sized outdoor kit that I was trying to experiment with, just with bolder colors, particularly this fuchsia color and the bright yellow are not ones I use very often, but I'm trying to experiment more and be just a little, yeah, a little bolder. This, ignore the fact that this is a weird as all get out portrait because it's not actually, like I just doodled in about 10 seconds. But what I did was, do I still have them here? Oh, precarious. Oh dear Lord. I have these water brush pens and I filled them with fountain pen ink. Well, I filled this one with India ink and then I filled these with fountain pen ink, and they're in plastic because I've never had the water brush leak in my bag. But if water leaks, it's like not the end of the world. But if India ink leaks, you've got a suddenly gigantic mess. So that's that. But it's really fun. Like they're really, you can get really bright, bold situations. Obviously that wasn't dry when I did the little flower doodles. So yeah, this is the black is the India ink and then the other colors of the fountain pen inks. And you can get a really wide tonal range here, which is what this experiment was. So yeah, that's something I'll have to experiment with further. And then this, did I do anything in this? Yes. I don't think I talked about this one last week, July 19th. Did I? Might have. Apologies if I did. This is a Draw Brighton replay. Sharon was the model and she's fantastic. And I didn't do the full 45 minutes of each. I just did 35 for this one. Well, I did, in her intro, I did a little quick doodle, which I really kind of love. And then I did a longer, messier color. Like this is what I mean when I said I have the skin color portrait colors, and then the everything else portrait colors, because clearly I go a little unconventional sometimes, which is super fun. And then her other pose was this side, and I'm really bad at drawing this, like, because it wasn't a flat profile, but it also wasn't, yeah, whatever this angle is, I'm not a mathematician, so I'm not even gonna guess, but whatever that angle is, I'm not, like, I haven't had a lot of practice drawing it, so I thought this will be a good opportunity. And this was a Pitt oil-based soft black pastel pencil, and I can't usually use pastel pencils because the texture and the feel and the sound is all like sensory nightmare. It's like nails in a chalkboard. It's terrible and I hate it, and so I can't use soft pastels either. But this oil-based one I really can use, and the Sanguine is very like a Conte crayon, so I like it a lot, and I hope they do a few other of those like Conte color, yeah, Conte colors. But so yeah, this was fun, just to get back to a scratchy sort of portrait. And oops, I forgot to stick this back in here. And then I had a few on loose paper. For some reason this has started curling. I've got to fix that because it's gonna drive me around the bend. I did, oh yeah, as part of Orla's Patreon, one of the months, last month? Yeah, July was water, I think. Yeah, so it was water, I think I showed this one last time. Had different ways of rendering water, and I really enjoyed that. And so she had a workshop, which I had joined the other tier of Patreon too late to do the workshop live, so I watched it later and did some of this, and that was super fun. And then this is that same landscape, but there are a couple people on Instagram, and I can't remember their names, but they're illustrators who do a 3 material challenge in August, and it's just running for a week this year. So this is just one Neocolor 2, one Ecoline brush pen, and a pencil crayon, and that's it. So 3 materials, and just see what you can do. This I mostly hate. I don't hate everything. It was a good learning experience. That's what I'll say that was. And moving swiftly on because it's frustrating. There are things about it I liked, but as a composition, it does not work for me at all. At all. So yeah, but it was a good learning, you know, I learned a lot, so that's nice. Okay, so the time before the last time I went on one of these plant rescues, I did the landscape I did was a little too tame and ordinary. So then I got started doing, I just got out my inks and did some crazier things, like just every color but green and brown I could use, but not green and brown. So I had to experiment a little bit more, and that was fun. I started out not using blue, but my purple doesn't get dark enough, so I did use a bit of purple. And then on this one I added some colors back in. So I did these two and really enjoyed the process. So I did a couple more, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with them yet. Who knows? But yeah, so those are the wonky landscape. Oh yeah, and this was also the 3 material challenge. I just did this morning in bed before I got up. Just playing with the 3 materials and seeing what sort of mixing and shadows and things I could get. So that's, oh yeah, I've got one more thing, because busy the last week. But I did my first gouache portrait, which, I'll turn it this way so you can see it sideways. But yeah, basically it's varnished now, but it's the first time I'd used gouache for a portrait, and it's just all gouache. It's not mixed media or anything. So I've done mixed media portraits before, but never a gouache one. Or actually, let me take this off the tape off now. But yeah, it was really fun. There are things looking like with a little bit more distance from this morning when I finished it. There are things that I would maybe do differently, but I decided I had to be done, or I was just gonna, I don't know if this happens to other people, but I can just like fuss with something indefinitely, and that's not helpful. So, yeah, there were things I would do differently, but I think it was time for this one to be done. And then next time I'll just do things differently with the information that I've learned from doing this one. So that was a lot of fun, and I'm actually really impressed with myself that I got it to look like a person. I wasn't going for realism. I mean, it's not photorealism, but it's like real-ish, except for the colors, because I was testing out. So I have my regular gouache palette with, aside from the pink, it's just red, yellow, white, and blue, and then I mixed the rest of the colors. So then I tried to do that with skin tones. I have to mix these empty ones because I'm running low. And I tried to go from like pretty light, which is this, to a pretty dark. I used that dark in a few places, but you know, I wanted to draw people other than me who have different skin tones. So I mean, I'm the easiest person for me to draw because I'm right here, but if I draw from photos or these draw brighten sessions, then I want to be able to try this with other skin tones as well. And it was my first attempt at mixing skin tones with gouache, and some of them are a bit yellow and some of them are a bit red. But if I found if I went too blue, then it got a little gray. So like, I'm not a color mixing expert is what I'm saying. I'm gonna practice that. But I'm working on it, and it's good fun. And so that's the arts and crafts for the week. So now on to books. Okay, in the books category, I listened to, they're all art books except for Enshittification by Cory Doctorow. So I listened to him on the Weekly Show podcast with Jon Stewart, which I don't always listen to, but like every now and again, if he is somebody or a topic that I find interesting, that sort of thing. And I do listen to like economics podcasts because I'm a geek occasionally. Like, I'm not an expert at that, but every now and again. Anyway, it was a phenomenal episode. So then I got this book from the library. There is another one that he's just released called The Reverse Center's Guide to Life After AI. And I've got that on hold at the library. I had to think about that title for a second. But yeah, this is basically about how the form of capitalism that we're operating under, particularly in the States, but really it's global at this point, is just making everything worse. Because people can get away with making things worse because nobody will stop them and they can make more money. So that's fun. The takeaways for this were basically unionize, break up the monopolies, tax capital gains, what else? Right to repair laws. Big fan of right to repair laws, and updated privacy laws. For God's sake, they're ancient. Especially in the States. It's like embarrassing how old they are there. It's not quite as bad in Canada, but like it's not good either. So we've got some work to do on that front. Anyway, this, if you're not sure about the book, this podcast episode is on YouTube, and it's so good. I listened to it twice through, which I don't usually do. And then I got some books from the library. These are all from the library? No. The self-portraits one is not. So I like this book series, this Art Essentials. It's like, because I didn't go to art school, like I took a couple classes in my undergrad 20 years ago, and that's about it. And 20 years ago, the situation for representation of women and people of color and LGBTQ folks and so on was like so much worse than it is now. And now it's still got a ways to go to be like good. It's not good yet, but it, you know, they've made a lot of progress in 20 years, some of these art historians. So I really like this series because it does get you a brief overview of whatever the topic is. So in this case, the self-portrait. And it's pretty, for a Western book series that I think is based in the UK, or maybe either the UK or the US, it's pretty global. Yeah, UK Arts Council collection. So for something out of the UK, it's pretty impressively multicultural and pretty like diverse in terms of the people represented. Obviously you've got like some of the major figures in history in all these sections, but then you've got like women I've never heard of. A lot of them European, but not all of them. And the ones who are European, there's a good mix of ethnicities and whatnot, and like more modern representation. So that's cool. Like, is it perfect in that regard? No, it isn't. But it's an improvement on some of the books I've seen, so I'll take it. So this was fun. Basically, it's just divided by sort of theme, and then it's got a couple of pages on all sorts of different people and their self-portraits. There's a book about her I want to get. She seems really interesting. She caused a lot of controversy with that painting, because I think she was the first woman to paint herself pregnant and nude from the chest up in or the waist up in a self-portrait. Yeah, so I think she went back to India. Yeah, so there's some, she did a response to Gauguin, who was famously both racist, sexist, and a child predator. So, like, not a good person. Fascinating paintings, horrible human being. Anyway, so I did mark some that I want to look up, because I do want to look that one up. YouTube's not going to like some of these. Ana Mendieta I really like. This one's YouTube safe. She used her body for art. She did land art, but she also mostly used her own body. And then her husband killed her, allegedly. Don't sue me, but like, really. So, Team Mendieta. Basquiat was a Black American author, or a Black American painter when it was still mostly a white man's and occasionally a white woman's game, but like mostly white men, and he broke in like in a big way, in a kick the door down kind of way, and is now mostly imitated by like James Franco and Adrian Brody. Like, he deserved better than that. But anyway. Yeah, there's some weird modern things. Andy Warhol, of course, but like, this one was interesting too. He did, I think some things in Hong Kong or something about Hong Kong. I can't remember. No, Taiwan is where he was born and then moved to New York. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted reading it again. Anyway, it was really interesting to learn, like, oh, I hate that guy. Little bits about just all sorts of different artists I'd never heard of. Like this one, he wanted somebody to write the kanji, I think not the kanji, what's the Chinese characters on his face until you couldn't make out anything anymore. I can't remember what the reason for that was. But anyway, Chinese artist. She's South African? Yeah, South African photographer. And like, is that not the most stunning photograph? My God. Anyway, that was lots of fun. And then in the same series, there's one called Looking at Pictures. And this is basically a sort of art history 101 where it teaches you, I don't know if YouTube's gonna like all these pictures because there are naked people sometimes. See if I can find the table. Is there a table of contents? That would be useful. So different sections of like types of paintings. It's, you know, like obviously things can fit into multiple categories. So in some ways they're a construct, but whatever. You have to sort of categorize them somehow for a book. So she'd look at land and sea paintings. Let's do that because that'll be YouTube safe. I hope, probably. And go over like different things, compare vastly different ways of painting a cathedral or a church, and talk about like why the artist may have made certain choices versus other choices. Also, had never noticed the ants before, so it like pointed out things in paintings I've seen before that I had never registered before. and just different ways of doing seascapes that were like vastly different to get a different quality. I really like Turner too. This one, I can't believe I'd never noticed the boats. I had never noticed the boats. I just saw the wave, like it's the main character. But also, there are little tiny people in boats. I would not want to be them in that scenario. So yeah, it's fun for like pointing out things that you hadn't noticed about famous paintings, but also introducing you to different ways of looking at paintings based on what the artist might have been trying to do, sometimes more or less successfully, with some of these portraits. There's a cubism one. And then, yeah, so there are some modern ones. There are a lot of the, like, classic European ones, but she does try and get, like, branch out. And so there are some sections later in the book that talk about modern painting and what, you know, once you've ditched representation altogether, what artists might be trying to do. So that was pretty interesting, I thought. And then I got 2 books about protest art. These are both kids' books. This one is like, I don't know, junior high, high school. It'd be fun for a high school student. It's probably for junior high. But it's called The Art of Protest, Creating, Discovering, and Activating Art for Your Revolution by Dee Nichols, who is on, I found her and one of these other artists, I think Molly Mendoza, on Instagram. And it's a beautifully done book. It's got this exposed cover, and it's like everything from the typeface to the drawings to the color scheme choices. It's so well done. So it talks about why art matters in social movements, but also gives kids like things they can do if they're, you know, if a kid is wanting to get into social justice. It's like ways in different things people have done before. I'll skip a few pages here. Oh yeah, a bit of a history of different art movements, or where, like, the Black Panthers weren't an art movement, but they used design to communicate a message, which I think was the point of, like, including different types of these things in here. It goes through some different symbolism, color symbolism, let's see, and different, yeah, it's so good. There are different sort of examples. So a section talking about South Africa, youth-led movements, what the umbrella movement was, which I knew about Hong Kong resisting Chinese rule, but I didn't know about the umbrella situation, Parkland, so school shootings and stuff, which, as a Canadian, can I just say, get your shit together, guys. Come on. Like, that's embarrassing. It's horrifying. Also, climate change is horrifying. Our politicians are no better in that regard. You want to smack somebody sometimes. And there are a lot of these are all young people, where they were at least at the time this book came out, who are climate activists and used art or design or something in some way to communicate their message. And so that was pretty cool. Yeah, and the different issues, different things people might try. So it's a very, like, practical, if I can imagine this being the most useful for kids who are anxiety ridden at the current issues, whether it's like trans rights in schools or climate change or whatever. This is brilliant. And then this is for a bit younger kid, I think, but still like elementary to junior high, maybe. Well, maybe it's junior high too. I don't know. At first I thought it was more for younger kids, but maybe it's not. This is Rise Up, The Art of Protest. It's an Amnesty International publication, and who did the Amari? This girl in Flint who's like not a little kid anymore, because that's still an issue. wrote the foreword. So it's different kinds of things that people can fight for. Excuse me. And then different examples of some of the art. So, you know, women's rights or human rights. And then it gets into Honor King and Racism Now. No Ban, No Wall. So different, like, anti-racism initiatives. Yeah, it's just, they're both really good books. With a lot of fantastic images that can maybe give people ideas of, you know, things they might be able to do. And this one is very, very international. The other one was maybe more American. I mean, also still pretty international, but this one is very international. Being from Amnesty International, that's not really a surprise. Yeah, so it's just a cool book. And then the last thing on my reading list for this week was, oh yeah, YouTube's not gonna like this book at all either. So I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to show you, but it's basically a catalog of Suzanne Valadon's work. There, I'll get her name in there anyway. And she was an impressionist, slightly post-impressionist, like at the end of Renoir and Degas and those guys. She was a model for, was it Renoir she was a model for? I think so. No, Degas? And then Degas encouraged her, I think, in her own art journey. So that's cool. And I really, really love her style. But I'm gonna have to see what. There, I can show you a couple of, it's all in French. So it was a really fun way to practice my French because, nope, can't show you that. I can show you the circus ones. Oh yeah, she was in the circus in the 1880s. She had an interesting life, this woman. Not boring at all. And I didn't understand everything because it was in French. Definitely can't show you that. But here, yeah, she was the model for Renoir and Toulouse-Lautrec. And so that's a Renoir painting of, I think, her. Yeah, that's her. And then that's her again. Nope, can't show you that. Some drawings of hers. I didn't understand everything because I don't have, I mean, I'm not fluent in French, but also my vocabulary is not, like, I don't have art-specific vocabulary. So I did look up quite a lot of things, but it was fun for that reason. This was a fun painting because it's like the Odalisque painting, except she doesn't care. She's not doing it for the male gaze, and she's got a cigarette and books and whatever. The men can, you know, take a hike to be polite. So yeah, that's this book from this Seurat. I don't know what this is. I think it's a gallery. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't look it up. Anyway, those are my, whoops, probably shouldn't leave that on there. Those are my book, art, and tarot shenanigans for the last couple of weeks. I'll be off on some more adventures tomorrow because it's a holiday and I'm very excited about that. So I will see you later. Thanks for watching.